Who hasn't found themselves in a debate defending their favorite product or brand? One of the fiercest battles you can get into is the one about Apple. And Apple users are always convinced that their products are on a whole different level. Now, if you're not an Apple user and you try to say that the iPhone or Mac is way too expensive compared to other devices, well, you'll probably hear something like, "We're completely satisfied with it, and you won't get it until you try Apple products yourself." But no matter how much people argue, there's one thing we can all agree on. Apple products are expensive. Really expensive. And it's not just their flagship devices. Whether it's the MacBook, iPad, or even their accessories like AirPods or the Apple Watch, Apple has always maintained high prices across their product range. Some people believe it's worth every penny, while others aren't so convinced. If you were born in the 70s or earlier, you've seen firsthand one of the greatest technological booms in history. Those years changed everything, and that's why we have the advanced world we live in today. You witnessed the rise of personal computers, the birth of the internet, and of course, the beginning of Apple's journey from a small startup to one of the most influential companies in the world. But if you weren't around back then, let me fill you in. Apple played a huge role in this. Their first product was the world's first computer with a screen and a keyboard. And for the first time, it made computers something accessible to everyday people, not just big corporations or research institutions. And that was a big deal back then. Computers used to take up entire rooms, but with the Apple I, you could finally have one in your home or office. Then came the Apple II, the first ever color computer. It was a major upgrade, and it set the stage for what we think of as personal computers today. And in 2007, Steve Jobs rocked the world when he introduced the iPhone. It was a game changer, and the media couldn't get enough of it. The way Steve Jobs presented it? Pure genius. He started by talking about the mobile phones of that time, basically saying they were all copying BlackBerry, which was super popular then. And then, boom, he introduced the iPhone as something totally revolutionary. And you know what? He was right. Apple changed the game by ditching all the physical buttons and going all in on a big touchscreen. And they didn't just stop there, they kept innovating, improving the user experience with every new release. From that point forward, all companies followed suit, and that's how we ended up with the smartphones we use today. Even if you don't use an iPhone, the design and functionality of whatever smartphone you have were likely influenced by Apple's innovations. Now, here's the thing. Apple's products have always been pricey because they've been leaders in the tech world, which has allowed them to set their own prices. But the question is, how much of that price is justified by innovation, and how much is just the power of branding? But here's a question. Does Apple still offer cutting-edge devices today? There's no doubt. Apple's products, whether it's phones, watches, or headphones, are pretty unique. But are we really paying all that money just for the quality? Or is there something more going on? Like many big brands, Apple charges you for more than just the device. You're also paying for that fancy logo on the back. And if you're an Apple user and you're frustrated about paying extra just because it's an Apple product, well, you're not alone. Other brands do the same thing. Think Adidas in clothing or Ferrari in cars. It's all about the brand name. Apple never marketed itself as the best value for money. Instead, they've always made you feel like their products are tied to luxury and elegance. But here's another thing that sets Apple apart. It's not just about the sleek designs or the premium materials. Apple invests a ton in software. Take the iPhone, for example. Apple developed its own iOS system, while all other companies got Android from Google for free. This has given Apple a big edge, better performance, more stability, and let's not forget, iPhones are much harder to hack. And it's not just the operating system that makes Apple stand out. They've got an exclusive collection of apps in the App Store, along with built-in apps like FaceTime and services like Apple One. By creating their own system, Apple has also opened doors for developers to build a fully integrated ecosystem between all their devices. This means you can seamlessly connect your iPhone to your Apple Watch, getting all your calls, messages, and notifications on your wrist. Apple is also one of the biggest spenders on advertising, pouring huge amounts into marketing, which has played a huge part in their success. But here's the question for you. Do you think Apple is still ahead of the competition? Or have other brands caught up? So here we are at the end of the video. If you made it this far, you're a true fan. Don't forget to hit that like button before you go, and drop us a comment if you have any suggestions for future episodes.